This is the North Shore Community Association's podcast, September 11th, 2020. Hello again. This is Max Cote, the NSCA Development Agent.
And this is Annie Lafrenière, the NSCA Programs and Communications Coordinator.
Today we have a special treat for you. We'll present our very first interview with a community member. We will be doing interviews like this from time to time to meet some of our North Shore community members and learn how they are involved in their community. Following this interview, we will have our usual news of community events and services. This is our first interview of a community member on the NSCA podcast. The objective of this interview is to showcase community involvement of English-speaking community members. One thing is for sure, we picked a colorful character as our first guest. Walter Bisson is a very active member of our 50-plus Baie-Comeau group. He also is a cruise ship guide for the Comité de Croisière Baie-Comeau. Hello, Walter. Nice to speak with you today.
Nice to speak to you.
I'd like for you to give us a little bit of a brief description of what brought you to Baie-Comeau and the North Shore. When did you arrive?
I arrived on the North Shore in 1941 in a little town called Shelter Bay, which today is Port Cartier. On my way to Baie-Comeau, and the reason why we had a detour was that the house in Baie-Comeau at the time was not ready. So my parents were asked to go to Shelter Bay for a couple of years before the house would be ready. So we started in Shelter Bay, came to Baie-Comeau in 1943, and I stayed here till 1964. I was going to Baie-Comeau High School and then graduating and going on to university at Acadia University in Wolfville, Nova Scotia. I then married a young lady from Baie-Comeau, Barbara Ferguson of the Ferguson family, one of the twins. And we left here and started our journey throughout Canada. In 2008, I lost my wife, and I decided that I'd have to do maybe a bit of traveling. But about a year later, some of my friends from Baie-Comeau, Gary Quinn for one, and Brian Neal for the other, phoned me and told me that I should be coming up here and going on a fishing trip with them. And I thought, are we going fishing for a new girlfriend, or are we going fishing? Anyway, I came back up to Baie-Comeau in around 2009, and I ran into a young lady who had also lost her husband 3 years previously, who I knew. And I knew her dad quite well because he had been the captain of the Yalan, which was the boat that took Colonel McCormick across from Baie-Comeau to his lodge. Anyway, that was the beginning of I suppose a new love affair, and I've been in Baie-Comeau since then.
That's pretty cool. I was told last year that you sometimes still do some work on construction sites consulting.
Yeah, I still do. When I was my job during my lifetime was in the explosive business with DuPont in Canada, and I did also some teaching of and setting up both the programs for drilling and blasting in Newfoundland and also in Nova Scotia. So basically, there are some small contractors that live and work on the lower North Shore who have difficulty getting people to come down there to work for them because it's always for such a short period of time. So whenever they have a job involving explosives, they'll give me a call and I'll go down and try to help them out to get them started and finished.
You also are a guide for cruise ship tourists when they arrive in the fall. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that now for the past 4 years.
You also do walking tours in the historical neighborhoods of Baie-Comeau. Can anybody come and visit and have the opportunity to take part in this walking tour?
Yes, they can. In fact, as long as they register with the Department of Tourism Baie-Comeau down at the Carrefour, Maritime Carrefour, they can. Usually, we will take at least, no less than 2 people, but
Right.
we'll go from a group of 2 to a group of 10. And we meet with our people after they've applied for the walk at the fountain, Biosphere Fountain in Baie-Comeau, and we take them for a stroll down memory lane, as I call it, LaSalle Street, down to the Colonel's monument, and then we take them down into the park. And a trip through the park and show them some of the artists in Baie-Comeau's work there. Then we go up to the Manoir, and the Manoir usually we spend 15 to 20 minutes telling maybe a few wild stories about what happened in Baie-Comeau in the old days. Then on up to the Anglican Church and St. Emily Church, and then back.
Okay.
Usually it's a walk of around 2.5 to 3 hours.
Okay. Yeah, you do a pretty long walk with that.
Yeah.
Why do you like it so much?
I like it because I first of all I've always enjoyed Baie-Comeau. I mean, I might as well say, sure, I was born in Chicago, but from the age of 7, I lived here in Baie-Comeau, and it had to be one of the nicest towns if anybody could live in. I came here, I couldn't speak a word of French. In no time at all, I was bilingual. And the friendship has always been here. I've always liked the people. I've always liked the town. And I have to admit that as much as I've traveled from one end of Canada to the other, the Rockies are a great spot, and definitely are. But I'm telling you, it's hard to beat the lower North Shore and the North Shore.
Oh, that's great.
I really find it difficult.
In your case, you participated in a course of several hours to get to know everything that happens when a cruise ship arrives. What did you learn, or what did you use to learn the historical content inside your tours?
Well, a lot of the guide was a real good starting point, because from the guide it brought back memories of what was here and what was
the
done.
guide for the guide document they give you, right?
Yeah, the document of the guide they gave you was really, to me, really good, because it gives a real good history of the North Shore, right back into the 1800s. So from that, you can. It doesn't take long to say, okay, I should check up on this, and I can check up on this, which you can do so easily today with a computer. But basically, and what makes it interesting is that there's a lot more history to the North Shore than people really know. A lot more.
As you know, I guide myself at the same time as you do when these ships arrived, and I used many different books about the North Shore, such as the North Shore memoirs published by the NSCA, and the book The Colonel about Colonel McCormick. Any good books do you recommend that have much history of the North Shore that you use?
Well, there's some good books. There's a good book written out by Monseigneur Labrie, who was the Monseigneur in Baie-Comeau for many, many years. There's excellent books put out by Paul Provencher, who was our forestry engineer here for years, plus being many other things as he was. I can remember him teaching us as scouts how to use a bow and arrow properly. And
he was a professional outdoorsman.
Fantastic. There's a book from Trees to News put out by the company. There's quite a few. There's quite a few interesting books that you can pick up a lot of history. There's a good one out on I just read lately on Natashquan, and it is put out by an Inuit writer, and very interesting.
Bejuan Bits has also a book just about the Arctic fox, the Arctic silver fox, and it's just about that, but it's absolutely awesome to read. So you positively recommend people get involved in the cruise ship initiative?
Definitely.
Okay, so
I think it's a big plus for not only for Baie-Comeau, because the cruise ship goes into Seven Islands.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, the cruise ships, one of these days, the smaller cruise ships are going to be able to go into ports like Harrington Harbor, La Tabatière, St. Augustine, where there's a lot of history. It's a different way of life completely.
There's some that go to off St. Pierre already.
St. Pierre, yes.
Tadoussac as well, which is not in our network, but the Tadoussac do get their own cruise ships.
And even an interesting, very interesting is that trip that when you go down to Magan and you can go across to Anticosti Island.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a pearl of a different type. I mean, it's not everybody that wants to see trees and deer, but if you're really interested in ecology,
I want to see the fossils. I
fossils,
hear there's
fossils,
just
they're
millions of fossils everywhere.
Everywhere. It's fantastic.
Okay, so you know Baie-Comeau history very well. Are you doing? You're also doing some publicity work for tourism of Baie-Comeau. Would you like to share with our listeners what that's all about?
Yeah, what they've asked me to do is it's tied in with Cogeco, is that to give a brief outline of what really our walking tour is. Okay, and what do we talk about? Well, everything I talk about has happened in the years of 1936 to around 1950. Absolutely. I try to keep my talk to those years because that to me was when all the excitement in Baie-Comeau happened. Okay. And in those tours, we will tell stories about different things that happened in Baie-Comeau, like one time Colonel McCormick. Because a lot of people like to know, really, what was he, a rough guy? Was he, was he a mean guy, or was he real good? As far as I was concerned, he was a hang of a good guy for what he did for this town, what he did for us as students, for our families and everything. I think he was well organized, and things went well. But one story there is the story when he brought the Chicago Blackhawks into play hockey.
Absolutely.
And everybody keeps saying to me, all the visitors this year said the same thing. You're kidding me. That's not true. And I'd say, yeah, he brought the Chicago Blackhawks here. And when they left, they didn't have any hockey pucks or hockey sticks left, that's for sure.
I know that this year was a special summer for tourism on the North Shore. Many tendencies seem to change, such as there's a lot more camping and picnicking. What are some of your impressions for the next tourism season on the North Shore?
I really think that this year there was a great... the North Shore sold themselves.
Good.
The only thing that I have to admit, and I traveled during this season twice to Kagaska, and the only thing that's really missing on the North Shore right now is things like hotels, parking areas for people that are traveling with trailers, tenting facilities, and restaurants. Because, I mean, I could not believe on my last trip down in August that I pulled into a place just to have a nap, and there had to be 30 cars there, and people are getting prepared for the night because there's no place to sleep. But I really think that once people see what there is on the North Shore, and the beauty of it is that it's going to be a real selling hit.
Oh, I completely agree with you that I think this whole COVID situation certainly gave Quebecers a taste to actually travel a little bit more in their own province, for sure. And the North Shore did shine as one of the few regions that came out of the pack for once, or getting a great visibility.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely right.
I'd like to thank you for coming and doing this interview, Mr. Bisson. We hope that we have you again sometime and keep us updated on these touristic activities.
We shall do that. Thank you kindly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed Walter Bisson sharing his experiences on the North Shore. Now we will present the community events and services.
The NSCA is proud to present the Social Skills Kit. This kit is for parents and educators of all spheres and offers opportunities to support children aged 0 to 5 while they develop their social skills. We offer different resources for any adult who wishes to become a significant guide in the development of their child's social skills. financed by Avenir d'Enfants under the Manicouagan On s'attache 3-year plan. The kit is full of tools and available free of charge to families, daycares, and any community organization or social service to help enrich their actions on social skills with young children. We hope this kit will help all in having a good time with their kids.